Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers should exercise caution when watching this program, as it may contain images of deceased persons.
But first, it's not often an organisation changes the lives of children in school through a connection to culture. Noongar Wellbeing and Sports is doing just that and more with children from all around Western Australia.
Across Noongar country, these sports are changing the lives of kids. This is Noongar Wellbeing and Sports.
Well, Noongar Wellbeing and Sports is an Aboriginal health promotion charity, one of few in Australia. Our role is to build health and wellbeing in the Aboriginal community in Noongar country, and our point of difference is we use traditional Indigenous games to engage with our community.
Mark Griffin is the CEO of Noongar Wellbeing and Sports.
So instead of just doing your normal sports like basketball, netball, AFL, we use the traditional games which have been played by our ancestors for thousands of years, and they've been modified to be safe and inclusive for everyone today.
Since 2007, this organisation has run more than 35 weekly sessions in schools and the community around Perth.
We don't play the mainstream sports, so soccer, basketball, stuff like that.
Jared Franey is the Community Development Officer.
We play traditional Indigenous games which were played thousands of years ago from ancestors. So these games are based all around Australia.
It's not just fun and games, it's helping children from all backgrounds learn more about Noongar culture in schools.
Look, attendance has improved a great deal in terms of the kids actually want to be here, and one of the guiding principles of the reason why we brought this program in was to actually develop that love of school. And because kids like to be here, then they make that effort to get here, and that's been the biggest benefit from the program overall in terms of attendance.
Raymond Boyd, principal of West Beachborough Primary, says the programs are about more than just attendance.
The biggest benefit we're seeing here is getting these kids to get really positive about themselves and not develop their self-esteem but actually develop their self-concept, which is obviously a little bit deeper. We're seeing a lot more kids step up to leadership roles because of that.
It's work in communities as well as schools that gives the organisation a greater reach.
We've got a vision, to close the gap in Aboriginal health compared to mainstream health. I think connection to culture is key to that. The community say they want to work with their own mob, their own people, which is our philosophy, which is why we utilise our young Indigenous role models.
And it's not only the children who enjoy it.
Well, we have over 100 that we use and can pick from water sports to wrestling sports, ball skill sports. There's just so many.
Laura Malcolm is the group's health promotion officer.
But the one I like most is probably one called Born a Jokey, which mainly I like it most because the kids love it so much. So it's, back in the day, was used as target practice game, and now we have adapted it. So instead of spears, we're using dodgeballs.
My favourite would have to be Edo from the Torres Strait Islands. It's a game of tag, so chasey. So it's really active, running around. You get to do either one-on-one or as a team, so working together is sort of the main key.
Soft, squishy one. What they'll use a long time ago, right, is they would use a big red gumnut.
This variety of sports helps engage children both physically and mentally to encourage them to make the most of life.
I think because we target both the sports side of things and getting the kids active and playing sports, but also looking at a holistic approach and the whole well-being. So that includes, lifestyle and healthy eating and all of that to try and give these kids a great start and continue being successful after school and after primary school, through high school. Yeah, so it's not just about the sports for us, there's more to it, it's about their whole life.
Noongar Wellbeing and Sports has a presence in schools and the wider community, from Perth to Manjimup, reaching more than 20,000 people each year and looking to grow even bigger.
Focus one, focus two.
I'd love to see Noongar Wellbeing and Sports be the peak body for Indigenous health and wellbeing in Noongar country. So we're currently based here in Perth and we go off-site to all our programs. I'd love for us to have offices in all the regions in Noongar country, so in the Wheat Belt, the Southwest, the Great Southern, and just to continue to grow.
To talk more about health and wellbeing is Tillman Lowe from Noongar Wellbeing and Sports and Anton Skidderpa from Clontarf Aboriginal College. Tillman and Anton, thank you for joining us here at Noongar Dangi. Tillman, what is it about the program that works so well?
So I think it all starts with the people that we have working for us. You know, they're able to connect with the community. You know, they're all skilled in certain areas that enable them to work well in the areas that they have to work in, and using that, they're able to connect well with our participants and also well with our stakeholders, and enables us to really run successful programs.
Anton, what are your thoughts on what you've seen in the programs?
Well, from what I've heard is it's really great that they use young Indigenous people to work with the kids. It's really important that the kids have role models to follow, and engaging with the community is really important. I think there's this big emphasis on every Aboriginal person playing footy, and it's good to see that there's so much more diversity for us when it comes to sport in schools, definitely.
What are the benefits out of classroom and away from school?
We know with Indigenous people, the way that they learn is very hands-on. So we find that taking them outside of the classroom, you know, being around the bush, in the trees and out on the ovals, and actually feeling and touching all the objects that we need to use for our learning, it helps them to understand it better. It helps them to process it all and take the information in to the full extent that it can be.
And Anton, how important is the link between culture and identity and self-esteem?
Well, I guess the big thing with identity is being able to share that identity and being confident enough to talk about it. And for a long time, it's been something that's been diminished for our mob to talk about the things that we're proud about, and to have opportunities to build that self-esteem, build that confidence, where we're given a forum to talk about it and to experience, I guess, our culture all over again. That's a really important thing to build that identity, and then to be able to share those stories about our culture.
Yeah. Tillman, have there been any personal successful stories that have come out of the program?
Yeah, no, definitely. We've got quite a few that we've come across, and in the ways that, you know, the way that we've been able to affect their lives and change their path. So, you know, for instance, at West Beachboro, there's a kid, and he wasn't really heading down the right path. His attendance was very low, it was very poor, it was below 50%. And so over the course of 6 months, it changed dramatically, and now he's up above around 95% of school attendance, and he's passing all his classes, and he's actually looking like he might probably get a scholarship for for a high school.
Yeah, definitely. I think experiential learning and really engaging with the learning is important for our students. A lot of people don't realise we've got students that come from as far north as Elcho Island and Tiwi Islands.
Yep.
And so they all come to our school, some of them with fourth or fifth language being English. So we have to find really engaging hands-on ways of helping them learn. Last year we had our record number. We had 12 of our 24 Year 12 students get accepted into university, which was a massive thing for us. In the past we've only had 1 or 2 students even apply for university, so last year to have all 12 of our applicants get accepted into university was a really exciting thing for us. And these are students that have started with really low literacy when they've come to us in Year 7 and have built their way up to be really successful in Year 12, which is really exciting for us.
Yeah, that's good to see. How essential to Noongar Wellbeing and Sport is ongoing government and corporate support?
You know, it actually plays such a vital role for us as an organisation. So our organisation is mainly funded under the IAS scheme, which is the Indigenous Advancement Scheme, and that covers most of our salaries, most of our programs. So if we didn't have that ongoing funding, that ongoing support from federal funding, you know, we wouldn't be able to exist as an organisation.
I think that you have to look at the way that the schools are run today. They don't cater necessarily for Aboriginal students and the way that we learn. So I think having programs like Noongar Wellbeing and Sports and the way that our school at Clontarf runs is really important to ensure that these students are really achieving their maximum potential. And without those programs, it wouldn't be as successful, I don't think.
All right, thank you, Steve, for coming in.
No worries,
Thanks
thanks for
very
having
much.
us.